Hello and welcome back to the Art of Living Well podcast. Today, Marnie and I wanted to come on and talk about movement and really how to find your optimum movement plan, a routine, and build strength at any age. And regardless of where you are in life, your overall lifestyle, your goals, because it's something that we talk with a lot of our clients about. And I think both Marnie and I have been through different cycles with this ourselves and find ourselves sometimes maybe doing too much movement or not really listening to our body and what it needs that given day. And just honoring that for women, at least, who are still, menstruating and going through cycles, that our hormones fluctuate on a 28 or 30-day cycle, unlike men whose hormones fluctuate on a 24-hour cycle. So doing the same movement every day of the month or every day of the week, if you go to a gym and you're doing the same class every day, isn't always the best fit for what you need. And so we really want to talk today so that you can tune in and listen to what your body needs and have maybe some new ideas and new ways that you can feel good, still move your body, but maybe you're not pounding the pavement as much as you used to, or doing all those intense HIIT classes like a lot of us have done over the years. So,
well, and I just want to add to that and say, if you're listening to this episode and you're in your 20s and 30s, and Stephanie and I are now both in our 50s.
yes.
And I think that, just knowing myself and watching how my workout progressions have changed over the decades, what a 20-year-old can do and what a 50-year-old can do, and maybe even what they should be doing are different, right? Like our bodies have different needs at different stages of life. And so I think that a lot of what we're going to talk about today is probably going to be a little bit more focused on, women in some of these, 40s and 50s stages of life, but know that a lot of it is relevant to any age. And it's really about finding what works for you and your body. And hopefully we're going to be, I don't want to say debunking myths, but maybe putting some ideas out there that are different than what you thought or what a person thought, back in the day when you thought you had to pound on the Stairmaster for 60 minutes straight or whatever it is.
Yeah. And I think too, for a lot of women, and Marnie, I know you see this too with your clients, but we have this mentality that we have to work out to burn the calories that we're eating. And so we're really kind of going about this the wrong way. We're not necessarily fueling our body for what it needs when it comes to nourishment. We may be, eating certain foods that don't love us back and then justify it because we'll be on the Stairmaster for 60 minutes. I mean, God knows I remember doing that in my 20s and 30s or running a lot. And I think we also want to kind of get into like the mindset of movement and think about why you're doing it and what do you actually enjoy doing, and get out of your head about what you think you should be doing based on solely what you're consuming.
And also, when you think about movement, really having variety is key, or cross training, right? Like you want to have a combination of things, some cardiovascular, and which could be walking, it could be jogging, it could be cycling, it could be running, it could be jumping rope. Like there's so many different things you can do. But you want to combine that with strength training. And also it's super important to have that component of mobility and flexibility and doing things to keep your joints healthy, because as we age, that just it's important in all ages, right? But it becomes more and more important as we age to keep those hips mobile and those knees, flexible. And when you're bending over, you're not in excruciating pain, or, even your feet need to have mobility, and your toes and wiggling them, and your ankles, and like all these things that really I did not think about when I was younger.
No. And if I think back, because I'm thinking of yoga, and partially because this morning I did a yoga class, which was like a great compliment to what I did yesterday. And I love it. But I remember, this class, we didn't even start doing like a flow, like a vinyasa flow, until like 25 minutes in, which back when I was in my 20s and 30s, I would have been like, get me out of here. Oh my gosh, I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting on the mat and I'm stretching and doing the cat cows and all this stuff. But you spend all this time like doing, rolling your ankles and just flexing your muscles and really focusing on the joints and the stretching. And I love it. And now it's like depending on the day, that may be the favorite part of the class, is doing like all those vinyasas and the flow. And so I think your body, with time changes, and it's like listening and tuning into what you need versus continuing to do the same thing. And, Marnie mentioned variety, which is such a good point. And I know there's a lot of people out there that like run 5 to 7 days a week, and that's like mainly what they do. And obviously that's great. But I do think for women, and we can get into this a little bit more in the conversation, making changes based on your menstrual cycle actually allows you the opportunity to incorporate more variety, like naturally incorporate more variety, because you're tuning in and listening to your body. And when you're too tired, you're not going out there and doing a long run or an intense HIIT class.
Well, and just speaking to that point, tuning into your body is so important. Like if you wake up and you feel tired and your muscles are sore, maybe it isn't the best idea to go and train intensely. And I struggle with this because I'm like, well, I have a plan, and on Monday I do this, and on Tuesday I do that, and on Wednesday I do that. But I'm trying really hard to break that and listen to my body. And I think that, if you're feeling tired, maybe you just do a 20-minute mobility class or some gentle yoga or some breathing or a relaxing walk, not a power walk up, lots of hills and whatever. And just our bodies need rest and recovery. And Stephanie and I are doing 29029, as many of you know, and we have all these training plans that we're getting, and there are rest days on these training plans, and we need to make sure that we're resting because overtraining is an issue. It's a true problem with lots and lots of people. And if we want to get the red hat and complete our mission, we cannot overtrain. We need to actually rest. And that can be a challenge.
It can be. And you and I are both struggling a little bit with that. I even asked the question like, well, on a rest day, can I still walk and do yoga? Because it is hard not to do anything. And when we're walking, it's not having our heart rate elevated, like Marnie said, like not doing a lot of hills or just those power walks. It's just like walking your dog, like walk at your dog's pace, or whatever, someone that's not as fast as you. And that will be hard for me too. And that's something that we've been learning about, like keeping for this event, because it is an endurance event. We're going to be hiking 29,029 feet over a 36-hour period. We have to focus on being in that zone 2, which I haven't focused that much on zones in my heart rate in a while, and which is like very comfortable pace that you could be doing for many, many hours. And for some people, that pace doesn't seem intense enough. And I know, speaking for myself too, in the past, I would have said the same thing. So this will be a good mental challenge for both of us.
Absolutely. And it just makes me think about, overtraining, like I mentioned before. And it's like, you don't need to work out intensely for an hour or 2 hours every day. Like you can find strength training workouts that are 30 minutes, or even cardiovascular workouts that are 30 minutes, and be efficient. And you don't need to be in zone 5 breathless. Like actually that can often do more harm. You really should only be in those zone 5 numbers for a few minutes. And really where we really want to train, and what Stephanie and I are learning, especially for endurance, is a zone 2 or a zone 3.
Yeah.
Which is also your fat burning zone.
Yep. The other thing I wanted to mention, Marnie, of just getting back to what you said, like with overtraining, is how many people out there, because I'm going to speak from my own personal experience, sign up for classes that if you late cancel, you get penalized. So, which is great from an accountability standpoint for those people that need it, but not so great when you had a crappy night's sleep and you wake up and all you want to do is go back to bed. And so just balancing out how much you're committing yourself to in advance like that. If you are waking up every morning exhausted, but you're getting out of bed anyway, then that's just time to rethink your workout and rethink your plan. And it's okay. It's not only okay, it's probably ideal in some situations to just do a 15 or 20-minute workout at a time. Because one, I think for a lot of people out there that are busy professionals, busy moms, whatever it is that you're doing, we think, oh, we need the full hour to work out, or we need 45 minutes. And if I don't have 45 minutes, then why bother? It's like some people feel like they need to operate at a 10 out of 10. And if they can't be a 10 out of 10 all the time, then doing something to a lesser degree is just not worth it. And I think that's another mindset shift too. Like sometimes I just have 15 minutes and I'll go downstairs, find a 15-minute Peloton ride or 15-minute strength training or stretching and do that. And maybe it's a 15-minute walk later, and that's, my workout for the day. So I think it's also for those people on the opposite end, maybe they're not overtraining, but you're trying to incorporate more movement and you're not doing as much as you want. Don't feel like you need to do more than 15 minutes at a time. And finding those small pockets during the day can be really, really impactful.
Quality over quantity, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So, and we were talking a lot about cardio here, but I also want to mention strength training because it is so important to strength train. And we really want to be building muscle for our bone health and our longevity and our metabolic health and our joint health. And there's just so many benefits to strength training. And I think that a lot of women are afraid of strength training, or they think they need a trainer, or they don't know how to start training. And first of all, there's so much stuff online, and you can literally get some dumbbells in your house. You can even do strength training if you're starting from scratch with just your own body weight. You can get exercise bands. Like, it does not need to be expensive. There's tons and tons of free workouts online, but it is really, really important to build that muscle as we age.
Yes, exactly. And, especially I know there's people out there that have weak bones, myself included. I have osteoporosis. And so that's been a focus of mine. And, one resource I want to mention, and we'll link it up in the show notes because she was a prior guest. And I think she's got some great, all free content on YouTube, is Nourish Move Love. That's her handle. So find her on Instagram, find her on YouTube. And she has so many workouts and they're geared towards everyone. And some of them are short and long and for pregnant and postpartum. And like literally you can find a workout that will fit you. And she's just great and has a lot of energy too. So highly recommend checking out her videos.
And we had another guest too, Tatiana, who also had a bunch of videos. And then I think she does have a paid plan.
Yeah.
But you get for sure at least either a free week or a free month with her. And she also has some great workout videos.
Yes. Yes.
And then there's a million other people. And I actually, if you're interested in the Peloton app, I can gift people a free membership for a month if that's something you're interested in trying. So reach out to us and we would be happy to make lots of recommendations in this area.
Yes, we do. I mean, I think I love strength training more now than I ever have. I mean, I have for quite a long time, but it's just so important. It's like part of my routine for the week. And I know it is for you too.
Yes, I would agree. I love it. I feel strong. That's why I love it. I'm like, wow, I'm lifting whatever. Like, this is so cool.
Yes.
Like, I really do feel strong. And, as we start to train for this 29029, I actually have to cut back on my strength training, which is going to be hard for me, but I'm going to do it.
Yes. Yeah, it is interesting because that's the one thing they said. If you're running out of time in a week, cut the strength training first, but keep up with the walking and the hiking and everything.
But overall, I would say that is not what a person should be doing. We are training for a specific endurance event. And so we have to follow a specific plan, but generally in life, it is really important to do strength training, probably at least 2 times a week.
Absolutely. And I would say for those of you out there that have parents that are in their 70s or 80s, and they're not strength training, it's so good for them. And just like the balance of getting back to the mobility. I mean, think about as you age and just you want to prevent falling. And so having good balance and good muscular strength is really important. As you know, we talk about longevity and our goal to live to 100, and we want to live like a quality life to 100 and still be able to move. And so that's why this is, we always say journey. This is a journey. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And so look at your movement each day as, yes, how you feel today, but also how you want to feel in the future. And so doing things that are going to get you to that point.
And I like to look at it as a puzzle almost. Like I take my week Monday through Sunday or Sunday through Saturday, however you look at your week. I like to start with Monday.
Yeah.
And piece it all together. Where am I going to get my cardio in? Where am I going to get my strength training in? Where am I going to get my mobility in and my flexibility? And I like to add meditation into that little puzzle. And then you have a plan for the week. And I kind of try and plan that out, on Sunday night, just like when I'm planning the rest of my week. Now, for me, I'm, trend towards more of a type A personality. And when I have a plan, I like to stick to my plan.
Are you
So
really
I'm trying
type
to
A,
learn
Marnie?
how to be flexible, which is a really good exercise for me. And know that I have to tune into my body. And if this day I don't feel great, or like Stephanie said, I didn't get a great night's sleep, I'm going to have to change my plan. And I'm working really hard to tune into my own body so that I can make those changes to my plan.
Yeah. And, just to tack on, and we've talked about this a dozen times on this podcast, sleep, like when you are tired, prioritizing sleep, maybe your workout that day is sleep actually, because that's what your body needs. And then you'll feel more well rested to do whatever it is you want to do the next day. So, I think the key is here that rest and sleep and tuning in and maybe slowing down and doing less movement is really helpful. And that's something that I personally had to do several years ago. I won't get into all of the details, but I quit my gym membership. I stopped doing these 5:30 morning workouts multiple times a week. A lot of them were HIIT and like pretty intense strength. And it just wasn't good for me, because if your body's already in a state of stress from like a mental and an emotional standpoint, adding on the stress of workouts, which typically is good, it's good stress, too much of anything can be detrimental depending on where you're at. And so if right now you're at a point in your life where you have a high level of stress, either at work or your home or your personal situation, then doing a lot of HIIT classes and getting that heart rate up elevated too much is not good. It's very taxing, and it's going to elevate those cortisol levels and then impact your sleep. And, we all know that stress is really like the root cause of a lot of chronic illness and disease. So just paying attention to your stress levels as well is really, really helpful. And that may mean dialing it back. Like, I stopped running, I stopped doing all these classes, my heart rate, I didn't elevate my heart rate. And I started doing a lot more bar and walking and yoga.
And I would say that trying to figure that out, because if you are, like Stephanie said, running in a very stressed or high capacity fight or flight mode, you want to balance that off with more calming activities. And I know that, like, for me, I feel like I was in that fight or flight mode for many years, and I would like crave that, that high from running or from a HIIT class or a dance class or whatever it was. Like, I just like, it gave me this high that I loved, but it's really wasn't good for me. And so learning how to do that kind of thing when I'm in more of a neutral state, and when I am in that, fight or flight mode, how can I move my body still and get calmer?
Yeah. And just know that it's not forever.
Right.
So it doesn't mean that you're never going to be able to do it. It may just be this week, this day, this month, this cycle in your life. But ultimately, you want to get back to doing those things that you love. And that's really the goal of all this, right? Is finding movement and exercise that brings you joy, that does exactly what Marnie just said, that releases all those endorphins and happy hormones and makes you feel good, and not doing something just because you think you should, or someone said that that's what they do. It's like finding what brings you joy every day, including movement.
It could be pickleball, it could be hiking,
Yes,
it could be
I wanna
so
do
many
more
different
pickleball.
things.
Yeah.
So exactly. Find things you love and make yourself a plan. No, you don't need to stick to the plan. but have a guide for yourself and see
Yeah.
how you can incorporate all these different things we talked about. And we are here to help you or
Yes.
guide you or talk it through with you as well. So please reach out to us if that's something you're interested in.
Yeah, we would love to help you figure out what works for you. And actually, what we would love is for you to come on our show and do a health transformation audit. If you haven't listened to one of these episodes, it's where we bring someone from our community onto the show for just a 15-minute session. And we really work with you and help you unpack what's holding you back from achieving your optimum health and well-being. And you will walk away with at least one tangible action step that you can immediately implement into your life. These episodes are fantastic. We love doing them. You know, we're integrative health practitioners and health coaches. So you can head on over to our show notes, click the link in the show notes or our website, or just email us and come on our show. We'd love to have you.
And if you're feeling stuck, we really want to help you feel unstuck in this capacity.
Yes.
And we're also on YouTube. And Pinterest. So you could head on over to our YouTube channel and watch this episode in the flesh and see our faces and comment. We'd love to hear from you and subscribe. And we have some beautiful pins on our Pinterest page as well.
Yes. Thanks to our wonderful interns. And one quick reminder, if you are doing a lot of strength training and maybe you're struggling with recovery or energy and getting more protein throughout your day, there are some amazing products at Kion, and their website is getkion.com. Marnie and I both take the amino acids every day, and there's several other products that I use on a regular basis. And we have a code. You can either use the link in our show notes, or the code is Art of Living, and you'll get a discount. And yeah, we just want to share because that's a really key integral product that Marnie and I both use when it comes to fueling our body and movement and getting good sleep too.
And if you're curious about flavors, my very favorite is berry. I also like the lime, and the watermelon has grown on me.
Okay, I want to sample the watermelon. I haven't tried it yet.
So
And I was been a little hesitant. So, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, have a great day, everyone. And we'd love to hear from you.
Bye-bye.